And hello again, YouTube. It is still morning, still Saturday morning, February 5th, 2022, 10:43 a.m. Trying not to mess my nocturnal sleep schedule up too much, but definitely some things I'm trying to get done today. And I went out earlier, got my rent paid. That's kind of a big deal. And oh, by the way, in the last video, I was seeing that cemetery. It was reminding me of a friend, and I could not for the life of me remember his name. And I did mention him to Priscilla as soon as I got home. And it probably took the both of us about 10 minutes of talking about him and to finally remember what the hell his name was. And it was Jim. It was Jim. It was so funny. That was kind of a mind-jarring moment for her as well. She's like, I can see his face. I can remember his voice. But God, it took forever for her to finally remember that his name was Jim. Anyway, kind of reminds me of that movie. Oh my gosh, Disney movie, 3D movie from a few years ago. And I can't remember the name of the damn movie. Anyway, it was a 3D CGI movie about the whole Mexican Day of the Dead thing. And man, I can't believe I can't remember the name of that stupid movie. I got 2 copies of it too. In my quest to, when I was like heavily collecting 3D Blu-rays after they pretty much stopped releasing them in the United States, I mistakenly ordered a copy from Brazil, and I ordered a copy from the UK. And I opened the Brazil copy, and I was planning on keeping the UK one sealed and flipping it. I thought the Brazil one was a little more interesting because it has the movie. Oh man, I can't remember the name of that stupid movie. It's got a different title in Spanish, or sorry, in Portuguese. Brazil release would have Portuguese on the cover. Anyway, it's got a different title on it, but other than that, the artwork's more or less the same. But I thought that was definitely the more, as collectible media items go, that struck me as the more interesting one. Because I've got loads and loads of 3D Blu-rays from, especially Disney ones, from the UK. I mean, like Frozen. Frozen was never released in the United States, but it was released in the UK. I think that's the most common release for Frozen in 3D, which blows my mind because that was such a massively popular film. And granted, I mean, 3D home theater had really fallen off in the United States by that point, but still, like, that was just such a massively popular film. I think it would have been worthwhile to have had a US 3D release. But anyway, yeah, I can't believe my mind is just a void of not remembering stuff today. I can't remember the name of that movie. Anyway, it was about the whole Day of the Dead thing, and it kind of touched on an interesting concept, without getting too creepy or religious with it, of just kind of like, and that's something I can kind of relate to, that kind of what keeps people who have passed alive is people remembering them, you know, particularly their family and their descendants, but also their friends. And I'm sure in the grand scale of Jim's life, I was probably not the most important friend that he had. I mean, my God, the guy was well into his 80s, and when he passed, and you know, I only met him in the last year of his life, but I feel like we became awfully close in that short time. certainly more than I have of anybody that's that much older than me. You know, that wasn't a that I didn't call grandpa. And yeah, I hope no matter how old I get that I never forget Jim, and I hope to never forget his name again. That kind of was it's a kind of a disturbing moment for me. So anyway, as you see, I'm headed south down the old Crosscut Canal bike path. And as I mentioned earlier today, I really feel like Phoenix has got good bicycle infrastructure, with a few missteps here and there. But like this path, I mean, I walk it a lot, but I've rode my scooter on it many times, and I've rode a bicycle on it, and it's nice and wide. Like, it accommodates, you know, it's wide enough to be shared by pedestrians and personal electric vehicles and bicycles and rollerbladers and skateboarders, for that matter. Although I think it's a little rough for skateboarders. It does have some cracks in it, but I've seen skateboarders on it. Yeah, the only time it gets a little awkward sometimes when I'm on my scooter coming this way is sometimes when groups of people are walking together, they seem to feel the need to walk abreast, as opposed to, I mean, I get not wanting to walk with your friends single file. I get that, but a lot of times groups of people will walk, especially when they're, you know, 2 people walking dogs, 3 people walking dogs. They'll walk abreast, side by side, to the point where they're damn near blocking the whole path, and that could be awkward. I mean, shoot, even when I'm walking alone, it's just a matter of course. I tend to, or riding alone, I do tend to stay on one side of the path just for general purposes of leaving somebody who is coming up behind me. If for some reason I can't hear them, plenty of space to pass me. Now here's, and I've mentioned this many times, here's where I think there's a fail. So the path goes that way to McDowell Road, and where it ends, you know, last time I was down there shooting video, there was some guy sorting through all his, some homeless guy sorting through all his laundry on that railing up there. But yeah, it ends right on the sidewalk to McDowell. McDowell is very much not a bicycle safe road. And yeah, where that path jumps out is crappy. I feel like they need to put a piece of the path right here where I'm walking, and then right here, you know, before it goes to just a regular sidewalk. Sidewalk starts right there. Put a ramp right there, and driveway style ramp, but the width of the path, and probably like put signage right there indicating that is a bicycle crossing. And as much as I'm not a huge fan of bike lanes, probably paint in bike lanes starting there going south, because as you see, the bike lanes start right here. There's the one for southbound, and you can see there's one across the street for northbound. So right here is the exact point where the bike lanes end. So just kind of continue the bike lanes up to where that driveway would be, you know, where the ramp would be, connecting in a proper paved path where I just walked. And that to me would make 48th Street an absolutely perfect bicycle and PEV corridor. Is that path I'm on to the north goes through all the way to Indian School, so 2 miles to the north. And then at that point, 48th Street turns into Arcadia Drive, and Arcadia Drive has got nice bike lanes on it all the way up to Camelback Road, so another mile north. And then these bike lanes here And I've shot plenty of videos of me walking to the post office, which is where I'm headed, by the way. Yeah, these bike lanes here. Rode my scooter in them many times. And the sidewalks are decent. In fact, the sidewalk on the other side of the road is actually really, really nice. Sidewalk on this side, it's adequate. These bike lanes are, well, right now there's some kind of, it's like water main construction going on, but normal situations, I do hate like when they make detours like this, there's never accommodation for people on bicycles, but notwithstanding the current temporary utility work, these are nice bike lanes, and it's not just a single line of paint. There's 2 lines of paint and about 2 feet of space between the bike lane and the vehicle traffic lane. So that's enough space. I feel, I feel comfortable when I'm on my scooter that cars coming from behind me are not going to plow into me. And also the fact that this is not a super busy road either. I'll give these guys some space. Yeah, if they could just continue, just make that little connection right there from the bike path and the old Crosscut Canal Park Greenbelt to these bike lanes going south, it would just, that would help a lot. I mean, I manage when I'm on my scooter. There's a kind of a drain, a cement drain a little bit further north than where I walked across that I usually ride up. And there's enough space that I generally, and the traffic is, low enough that I generally feel safe riding on 48th Street from that point south, but it could be better, definitely. And this sidewalk, this is great. I mean, this is actually kind of excessive. I like that. We got a nice sidewalk that's removed from the street. Anyway, yeah, this is a good multimodal street in my book. So yeah, I'm bringing a record to the post office. I actually lost money on this one, and I'm not even feeling bad about it. I look at how much money I made on my markup on those Taylor Swift albums that I sold last October. Yeah, not breaking my bank to sell a record at a little bit of a loss. I think I paid like 16 or 17 for this one. And I bought it for 16 or 17 because it retailed for, I think, 28. So $17, it sells for 28, and it'll probably go, as soon as it's out of print, it's going to go up in price. Yeah, not every record goes up in price when it goes out of print. And this one, not so much. There ended up being way more stock made than what's sold out. And but hey, at least somebody bought it. I ended up having to sell it for 11, but it did sell. Got an email this morning as I was right after I left PLS. Through the eBay messaging system, and the guy's like, "Hey, is this shipped yet? Has this shipped yet? Because it's been a week." I actually wrote him back, let him know that it has not been a week. You paid on Sunday. 6 days is not a week, and post office isn't open on Sunday. So sorry for the delay. Working super long hours. It's the first time I've had a chance to actually had enough free time to actually walk to the post office, which I suppose isn't true. I guess I had the free time yesterday, but I just slept almost the whole day. My body was just so between the 4 days of 11.5-hour shifts at Amazon and then my Thursday night at bullocks with the extended long ride home, because the bus doesn't run until about 4 a.m. Oh, and by the way, on the videos I shot on that, I did mention that I'm pretty sure I mentioned that because I did that video. I haven't got it posted yet, but by the time you see this, it will have been posted. I had the video where I walked around the London Center and through the drive-through that actually goes through the building. It used to be the Jack in the Box drive-through, and I had mentioned that I'm not sure if it was in that video or if I shot a little video when I did my transfer from the 60 to the 50, but I know I mentioned that the 60, even though it was about 6, maybe 7 minutes late picking me up at 27th Avenue, that by the time it made it to 16th Street and Camelback was either on schedule or maybe a couple minutes early. Which, buses don't always get late and stay late. During times of the day where there's not heavy traffic, and by not heavy traffic, I mean not only... they're putting in gates here. That's Portland Street, which is a private drive here. Those are all independently owned townhouses. I forget how much they sell for. It's quite a bit, though, which is kind of amazing, because that whole complex inside is pretty sketchy. But even sketchy properties are going for quite a lot here in Phoenix, which kind of makes me wonder what these kind of grungy old mobile homes are renting for. I really don't know. I really wouldn't want to live in one. But I've heard even stuff like this rents for a lot these days. And I'm absolutely terrified of what's going to happen to my rent when my lease renews in May. I'm hearing so many people telling me that their rent has shot up to between $1,200 and $1,500 a month for apartments smaller than mine in less desirable neighborhoods than mine. Does make me kind of nervous. Yeah, there's one thing I'm really not prepared to do, it's move. So, that's one of those corporate landlords that's bought out a lot of apartment complexes, older apartment complexes all over the valley, called the Tides. I don't know the name of the company that owns them, but this general look of wood slats and the Tides at blah blah blah, wood slat gates. Those are all over the valley now, and they're mostly old complexes. And from what I've seen, they just do the bare minimum to make them look a little fresher and newer on the outside. They don't really do much to fix up the inside of the apartments. And for adding their branding, and of course, since they're big, they're well advertised on the internet, different apartment hunting websites, but like apartments.com and whatnot. But they, what I've heard, their rents tend to be pretty high, and dealing with a corporate landlord with an office staff that doesn't really care about you as a person, from what I've heard. I do have a couple of friends that live at a couple different Tides complexes, and one of them told me how much their rent is for an apartment that's, I think her place is a little bit bigger than mine, but certainly not much, but in a much worse part of town. And God, I feel like she told me her rent was something like $1,300 a month. That's a big yikes. That's a big yikes. She does have a reserve covered parking spot, but it's a pretty hefty walk from her spot to from her spot to her apartment. At least my covered spot is like right literally right outside my door. Yeah, I really like where I live. I do. Definitely not prepared to move. And as much as the neighborhood has taken a downturn in the last year with all the homeless people that have started appearing in Pierce Park and hanging out along 44th Street, also along the what do you call it? Like a pretty good place to cross once this guy passes. Yeah, the homeless people hanging out along 44th Street and around the Lifewell Clinic, also there over there, and then also at the QT. Even in spite of that, I still find that neighborhood to be way preferable than most other neighborhoods in the valley. But yeah, the most important thing being, I'm certainly not leaving the Phoenix area without knowing where the hell Lily is and getting that resolved. And also, I have a lot of stuff, and I mean, I don't even know how many vehicles off the top of my head. I want to say 6 disabled vehicles, as well as just all my media collection and all my audio video components. And yeah, that all needs to be downsized in a really big way before I even consider moving to someplace other than Phoenix. And as far as like moving somewhere in the valley, yeah, even if I found a place that was significantly cheaper, which I highly doubt I could, a place that I like, I'd have to factor in what it would cost for a moving truck, or maybe 2, to get all my shit moved. And yeah, unless my rent jumps up to something crazy expensive, it's still will be in my best interest to stay put. I watched a video today, about a 2-week-old video on, I think it was on CNET. Pretty sure it was on CNET, and it was talking about people in the United States and the patterns of where they're moving from and where they're moving to and why. And it particularly focused, oh yeah, you had to speed around him, didn't you? Of course, this guy's making a U-turn when he probably should have went on the left, gone around the block. But it amazes me that the person coming up behind him couldn't just simply slow down, that he had to swerve into the bike lane to go around him. It's that kind of impatience with vehicle drivers that really annoys me with vehicles. Anyway, where was I? Sorry, I always get distracted by bad driving when I see on the road as I'm walking. And my damn left shoe was untied. Anyway, yes, this video on CNET was focusing on trends, and it was particularly focused on, oh, that's neat, gas-powered motorized bicycle. You drive on the left-hand side of the road if you want. It's kind of loud. It's pretty neat, but I wouldn't want something that damn loud. And they went Route 3 in front of me. That's actually not where I'm going. Normally I catch the Route 3 and I'll go to my storage, or I'll go over to the Circle K at 44th Street in Van Buren after I roll out of this post office. Or I often will walk to the light rail station, take the light rail someplace. There's a light rail station on the back side of the big post office. And occasionally walk to my friend Jeff's place. And that's not too terribly far from here either. But I'm going someplace I've never gone to before. Priscilla insists that I've gone there with her. I'm absolutely convinced that I haven't. But I'm going to, I want to say it's an Amazon fulfillment center, but when I looked on Google Maps, it specifically said it was an Amazon Flex Center. And even though I do work with Amazon, I don't really know I don't know all the, I know where several of the facilities are, but I don't know how the company works. It's an absolutely massive company, one of the largest companies on the planet at this point. But I do know there's a facility, Maps labels it as a Flex, as Amazon Flex. It's located on 48th Street, just a little bit south of, it's a little bit south of Washington Street, on the street that I'm walking on, 48th Street. I had somebody that I worked with at Amazon, somebody's like I don't really know everybody's position. Like, I just know I know I'm at the bottom. I know I'm right at the bottom. I think I'm past being a trainee at this point, but like I have finally had my app offer me additional overtime if I want to take it, and I haven't clicked on the app to see what shifts it's offering me. I'm not sure my body can take anything more, but I do really want to take a look. I mean, maybe I'll work an extra graveyard shift this coming Saturday if it's an option, or this coming Friday if it's an option. Obviously, I'm not going to do one on Thursday. I am still committed to, even as crazy as last week was, I'm still very much committed to keeping the show going at Bullock's, which I still haven't talked about what happened at Bullock's this week. It was pretty flippin' crazy, and I don't have enough time to talk about it between here and the post office, so I'm not even going to start, other than suffice it to say it was pretty freaking crazy. Although if there's one word that describes Thursday nights at Bullock's, for the most part since I've been there, I think crazy would be a good one. It's a good time though. I did have people kind of stressing me out by about 1 o'clock. By about 1 o'clock, I was just like counting the minutes and ready to be done with it. And then there was a bit of a brawl that happened, I want to say about 4 minutes after I shut down the music. I don't have a green, I have a walk signal, but I have a green light. I think this is a walk signal that's triggered by hitting the button. Now see, that's a stupid moment right there. That person turning left turned into the right lane. The person turning right just stopped in a blue truck. And the person turning right had a green light and had zero reason to stop, and 100% had the right of way over the person turning left. And there's absolutely no reason they couldn't have gone at exactly the same time, because there were 2 lanes to turn into. The person turning right should have turned right into the right lane. The person turning left should have turned left into the left lane. I don't know, I find this stuff pretty simple. Apparently neither of those drivers found that to be an easy thing to figure out. Of course, both of them just being stopped like that made it real easy for me to